I would say use IELTS. Do not use Pearson if you have to take an A1 or A2 or B2, whatever the tests are. If you have to take a test for a visa or any kind of test, find another facility. Don't use Pearson.
Okay, my name is Erwin. I'm a Latino. English is my second language, and of course, I have an accent. And but I understand. It doesn't mean I don't understand English properly. I do understand English, and I read English. But keep in mind that it's not my first language. So from time to time, I have a little bit of difficulty. And I acquire information on Pearson's because I'm trying to go to the United Kingdom with my wife, which is Kim. Um, the United Kingdom government, they require you to have a basic English test. It's called life skills, also known as A1 test. And that's why I seek Pearson's services to have this test done. On September the 30th, it was scheduled. I went there, and this test was supposed to be an oral test. Someone was supposed to ask me questions, and I was supposed to, respond these questions. And the goal of this test is to make sure that I understand basic, English, words, speaking and listening, basically, and but that's the purpose of the test. They don't. It's not an academic test to go to a university or anything. It's just a basic life skills test, also known as A1 or 1A. I don't think it's called the A1 test. Anywho, I went to the test as it was scheduled, and after I went in there, I saw a couple of videos on YouTube what to expect from other customers, and all I saw on YouTube is that this test is oral, and they give you a notepad and a pen so you can write down questions and write down your answers. They also want to know you see how well you write, but it was basically the test was supposed to be an oral test. So I went with those expectations and try to be as sincere and honest, so they see my level of English skills. When I arrived at the site, arrived on time, and they instructed me that I cannot bring any cell phones, electronics, and so I understood that. I signed I read the agreement, and I signed, and I went into the test. Then I was greeted by another gentleman. It was a receptionist where I did all the stuff that I have to do, and I was already registered. So I went there just to show my ID, and they did all that stuff. Then I went with this gentleman who was the guy in charge of the test. And I remember they took my passport because this is for a visa, so they took the information on my passport. And he had my passport, and it was when I first started to get really strange. So I asked for my passport. Can I have my passport back? And he said, no, I'll give this passport at the end. They basically didn't need my passport. That's for the reason why I asked for my passport back. He said, no, it'll be given to you, when you're done. And okay. And then he said, you shouldn't be talking to me. That's when it starts getting weird. Okay, there's a microphone over here, and you shouldn't be talking to me. You should know what to expect. We explain to you what the rules are, and because there's other people over here testing. So in other words, he charged me. It's like so I felt intimidated. Then he wasn't friendly, and I'm not expecting people to be my friends or anything like that. But I just thought that the gentleman was a bit rude, way too serious, And I understand it's a test, and you're supposed to be serious, but it was not personal. It was really cold, greeting. He greeted me with, he was quite cold and like, really, and I felt intimidated, so it makes you more nervous, I wasn't supposed to be nervous, but it made me feel nervous. And then he gave me this notepad and a pen and said, "You're gonna need this, or you may not gonna need this." So I started looking around. I don't see anyone else, and then he bring me into this room with a door. It's just one small room, and it had a computer. And I asked him, "Am I supposed to talk to someone? And this supposed to be an oral test?" And he says, "I don't know what what it is." And he says, "I don't make the test." And I can understand that he doesn't make the rules and the test, but he says the test you're doing is on a computer, and you're gonna wear these headphones, and the headphones have this microphone, and you're gonna speak into the microphone when the computer asks you to, and you're gonna listen to instructions. And then I inquired again, and I say, so there is just a computer. It's not an oral test. And he said, "Shh, don't talk to me. Like, be quiet." And I thought I was, once again, it's not help. I mean, I never done this before, and I was really puzzled because I thought I was going to do an oral test, and that's what I saw. Yeah, with another examiner, a face to face, like they say. So I sat down on my computer, and he said, "The computer is downloading the program, and you're going to have to wait. And when the computer is done, and then you begin your test." And the computer did download it, as he said, and instructions came on the computer. And it started reading the instructions, and what the test was what was going to happen, and how the test was divided. And I was reading, okay, we're going to have a 10 questionnaire, and then a 5 and a 5, and I was reading the instructions, and then all of a sudden, the computer started the test, so I didn't finish the instructions. And I read English and I comprehend English. And as I stated before, I know it's not my mother's tongue, but as I stated before, but I was taking my time because it's a test, and I wanted to make sure that I could comprehend, that I could understand what I was reading. And I think the computer just started the test without even asking me, are you ready? It just started the test. This gentleman told me this test is going to take about 30 minutes, which it didn't take 30 minutes in the end. It took about maybe 20 minutes or probably less. And well, according to the computer instructions, I was supposed to listen to a conversation, and then they ask you, what did these two people say, or what they were talking about? You have 25 seconds to respond, and you'll hear a beep. And then, so when I heard the conversation in the computer, the example, and then the question started, and then the test said, what did they talk about? When I was about to give my answer, the countdown began, 24, 24, 23, regressively. And I immediately knew that I only had 25 seconds to respond. When I'm trying to respond, the computer, then in the middle of my response, the computer beeped, instructing me to begin recording. So the sync with the computer, the timer, and the sync with the beep were totally off. When the beep began, so it only recorded half of my answer. And I noticed that because it repeats back to you what did you say. So my answer was cut in half. So you can really understand what I was saying, because I began because the countdown started, but the beep started when it was counted down by 1918 is when it's, so that thing was completely off. So I was not really getting 25 seconds, rather 19. And I tried to raise my hand, told this guy, and the guy was, not even acknowledging.
The computer wasn't functional, or software.
Yeah, and then I kind of understood, and then I was thinking, well, what it is. So I want to wait for the. So I understood that answer, my first question, it was probably wrong. It failed because. So I was thinking, well, one, can't hurt. The second, and to be honest with you, the test wasn't difficult. It was basic, but the computer was really malfunctioning. And every time I spoke, my speech, when I hear my speech that was recorded, when the speech was playing back, it was really slow. And I actually commented to the guy, I sound like I'm Forrest Gump from the movie, like they are going to the movies. It was really weird like that. So I was speaking at a normal speech and the speed of my speech, but the speed of the speech on the computer when it played it back, it was so low and so distorted. It was distortion in it. And the test went like that for 20 minutes. I was expecting to have a notepad, with a pen and they said it was done, but I don't understand. I didn't understand if I was done for that part, and then I said, okay, I just hit. I had a mouse on the computer, and I hit. I was done because I was done for that part. And then this lights came out, maybe the brighter lights, and this gentleman walked in, and he says, "Are you done?" And I asked him, is normal? This I sounded like Forrest Gump in there, like the speech, and he goes again, "I don't know, I'm not, you shouldn't be asking me anything. Like I don't know." And that was it. And I think that it was a horrible experience. I walked out of there. I was really, I was kind of angry and hopeless because I was mad. I was angry because the test was really easy. The test was easy, but
English.
Yeah, the English test was easy and it was basic. And even though, like I told you before, I know that English is my second language, but I thought that for my level, the level that I have in English, it was, I did okay. I understood what they wanted. And basically, the test was about, look at this picture, and what do you see? And you see books, and you see a table, and you see a stand full of books. What do you think this is? Okay, this is a library, and that's what, it was really easy, what is this woman doing? I mean, she's pushing,
She can explain that you failed the test,
Yeah.
and it's examined, it's scored by an algorithm.
Yeah.
Scored by
The computer, it's an algorithm, it's a computer that pretty much does the test. It was the day after, and I logged in because I created an account, and I logged in and it says it failed, and I kind of knew I was going to fail, believe it or not, because I was very worried about that computer, and the computer was sold. The computer was not even like the computer that I see behind you, you have it wasn't not one of those, the equipment was one of those old computers, the box that look like the old TVs.
On the, the Pearson website, they charge $175 for this test. To apply for the British visa, there are only specific schools that you can go to for the test purposes. So you're very stuck, very limited. We had to go to Pearson. Oh, by the way, we had to drive 350 miles to Pembroke Pines, Florida, to take this test. And there is another school. There is another place that is an approved testing site, but due to COVID, hardly anything is open. So we had this one test date available, and so we went for this test. And the problem is as you can see, Owen speaks. He also reads and writes English fluently. This was a very basic English test. It was just supposed to be things such as, hi, it's nice to meet you. What is your name? Did you have a good day yesterday? Very, very basic, very, very simple for Erwin. It was supposed to be with a physical examiner. We had read that it was supposed to be, for example, two people taking the test and yourself as perhaps the examiner. And then you would ask Erwin to ask me, a question, and you would determine, his English ability. So he received a fail. It's only a pass or fail test. And the issue is that there is no way to communicate with Pearson. They make it impossible to communicate with them. There is no email listed on their website. We hunted high and low. There are no phone numbers to call for customer service. There is nothing. The only email that Owen located on their website is under their malpractice policy page, and it's not an email for this purpose of trying to, communicate with somebody. He did receive a response, but the only response he received was to tell him this is not, an email where you can, send this letter. So there's no possibility for a grievance. You can't ask them to review the test. You can't ask them to review the software. You can't ask them to review the function of their computer.
Excuse me.
And they don't want to be contacted.
I'd just like to add that a couple of days after that, trying to get with them, I Googled the Pearson's, complaints, and I came to a page on Yahoo. That's old, but it's, in Yahoo and through Google, other people, and then there was other people, other British citizens complaining and saying, my wife is from Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, they speak English. We got married. We needed a visa, and she needed to pass a test. They failed her 4 times, even though people from Hong Kong speak English, because it used to be a British colony. Other people from Taiwan, from India, even people, I know they speak a different language in India, but English is like their second language there. So people from India, people from different countries complaining that their spouses were failed. And some people were a little more cynical, believing that Pearson perhaps does this to make more money because it's impossible to communicate with them. And but they were like, the reason I'm marrying my wife is because my wife speaks English properly, or my husband speaks English properly. Otherwise, they would not get married. How would you going to communicate with a person who doesn't speak English? But yet, they got failed multiple times because every time you fail, you have to pay. If you take the test again, they charge you again. For them to take your money and for you to acquire, if you want to get another test, they're there for you. They respond back. But if you have a complaint, there's no way to complain. There's no department. There's no a department or an area where you can complain.
Mm-hmm. I would say use IELTS. Do not use Pearson. If you have to take an A1 or A2 or B2, whatever the tests are, if you have to take a test for a visa or any kind of test, find another facility. Don't use Pearson. That would be my message.
And my message, I wish I could have, spoken earlier, but stand up for yourself. You go there, you pay money. They're not doing this for free. They're not doing you a favor. I mean, it's a business. And it's also you make your business that you heard. And I wish I could have been, I could have stand for myself a little better, but I didn't. I was intimidated. And my message is don't feel intimidated by these people. If by any reason you wind up with Pearson and there's no other choice for you, if you wind up making business with these people, just remember that you're paying, top dollar, $175 for most people is a lot of money. And if it's your money, it's your time. And I just make it count. Don't let these people, walk all over you. Just stand up and tell them, something is wrong, because most likely I could be wrong, but it's my sense. My belief that they trying to run a scam. They're trying to fail people at least a couple of times, so that so the people could easily spend $400, $500 by the time they finally pass the test. Money, it's not just about the money. It's about, it makes you feel as a person less. You feel, I have mixed feelings. You have this sort of ability of, I don't know. It's sort of, you get angry and you feel less person. I don't know. It's the feeling, the way they make you feel. It shouldn't be that way. And that's what I tell. I want to tell people that don't let these people make you feel that way.